What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ, and in today's video we're doing another NBA PrizePicks board breakdown for the January 30th NBA slate. We've got 8 games to discuss today, so hopefully it won't be too long, but not too short, but just right for you. It's about 1 p.m. here on the East Coast, so the projections you see in today's video can and probably will change, as I mention in every one of my videos. If this is your first time to Out of Bounds, welcome. On this channel we do everything from daily fantasy sports videos to all the hottest off the field sports news and stories. So if you're a sports nut like me, subscribe, turn on notifications, like this video, comment below, and share it with the entire world. And I would appreciate it very, very much. We're already over 320 subscribers in under a month, so I love the traction and growth. You guys are amazing. Now, last night, it wasn't great for me. I did not profit, but the good thing is I was on a 4-game win streak this week. When streaks come to an end, the good news and upside is the next day, we get to start a new streak. So hopefully we can do that today. Let's go ahead and start by talking about some big time injury news. The first name we have to talk about is Kristaps Porzingis. Dallas Mavericks forward is questionable. He might be rested on a back-to-back tonight for Dallas. Wendell Carter still out. He's out indefinitely for the Chicago Bulls with a quad injury. Jimmy Butler's questionable. It'd be great to see Jimmy Buckets get back out on the court for the Miami Heat. Anthony Davis, he's questionable with a right quad contusion. He did sit out the last game. LeBron James still dealing with the questionable tag, the ankle sprain that just never seems to get better or ever go away. We're not worried about that. Jonas Valanciunas, he's out due to COVID protocol. CJ McCollum out indefinitely. Jusuf Nurkic out indefinitely. Devin Booker is out for Saturday with a hamstring. Chris Paul balled out, I think it was 2 games ago with Devin Booker out, so maybe he does well again tonight against Luka Doncic in that Dallas Mavericks team. Goran Dragic, he's expected to be out with a groin. Tyler Herro's questionable with neck spasms. He did end up playing last game, and if you took Kendrick Nunn over on the points like I did, Tyler Herro pretty much crushed our hopes and dreams and profits. Robert Covington questionable with a head injury, and we'll cut it off there. I think that's all the big ones, the big important names to worry about. But today's slate, well, we got to get it loaded here. There we go. At the very, very top of the board here, we've got Damian Lillard taking on the Chicago Bulls. That game's tipping off at 8:10 p.m. Lillard projected for 51 fantasy points, so big number there for Dame. Let's see if he can get it done tonight. He's projected for 50.88, which put him slightly under, but you know me, I like to round that 50.88 up and call it 51. So I would say that Roto Grinders and PrizePicks are pretty much in agreement that 51 seems like a fair projection. Now, looking at his last couple of games, Lillard has struggled 44.3, 45.2. And when I mean struggled, he struggled to hit tonight's projection of 51. So those would be unders. 57, 48.6, and 54.9. So based on his last 5 games here, guys, he has went over tonight's projection of 51, 2 out of 3. So not a very high success rate there. Looking across the game logs here, we do have one previous game log back on January 5th for Dame versus Chicago. He ended up putting up 43.5 fantasy points in that one. So that's a good indicator of maybe what we can expect tonight from Lillard. They've got him projected to play 39 minutes. He's a combo guard, and Chicago ranks just 24th against combo guards. This is 2 games in 3 nights for Dame. 36 minutes a night for Lillard on the season. 1.25 fantasy points per minute. Very good there. And usage 31.30. Elite usage for Lillard. Now looking at the game totals and spread here, it does look like this game's going to stay close. Chicago 117.75 at home. They are the favorites in this game. Portland 115.25. So this game looks safe. It looks safe according to the Vegas odds makers to stay close and not be a blowout. So if you like Damian Lillard, well, it's going to be kind of tough to find an edge here at this 51 projection mark compared to Roto Grinders. So, you know, I don't know. Flip a coin. I mean, it's really difficult. Hopefully, we can provide some clarity over on the Premium PrizePicks channel where I do a full 5-site comparison versus PrizePicks. But compared to Roto Grinders, I would probably fade this situation or take the slight under if you feel like this is another one where Damian Lillard comes up short tonight. Let's talk the other side of the ball. Zach LaVine, 43 is his fantasy projection. Of course, taking on the Portland Trail Blazers. Let's see where they like Zach LaVine tonight on Roto Grinders. They've got him at 40. So that'd put him slightly under his projection tonight. Let's open up his game logs and see what LaVine's been up to. 41.7 in his last one versus Boston, 35 versus the Lakers, 49.7 versus the Hornets, 52.3 versus the Rockets, big game there, and a 32 versus Dallas. Now let's rewind and go all the way back to January 5th and look at the game versus Portland. He played over 42 minutes, guys, and ended up with just over 38 fantasy points, which would put him under tonight's projection of 41. Now tonight he's going to play 35 minutes according to Roto Grinders. He is a scoring wing. Portland ranking 10th against scoring wings. No back-to-back situation here for LaVine. He should be healthy. He's playing nearly 36 minutes a night, averaging a very healthy 1.2 fantasy points per minute, and his usage is in that elite tier of 30 or more at 30.46. So they like a slight under on Zach LaVine at 40. He's projected for 43, not 41. I might have said 41 earlier. I meant 43, so they like the under on LaVine. Let's move ahead to the next game here. We've got the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Charlotte Hornets. That game tips off at 8:10 p.m., at least on PrizePicks. In real life, it's 8 o'clock. But we'll go ahead and talk someone different since we mentioned Giannis Antetokounmpo. Last night, he did go over his projection. So I know a lot of the sites liked Giannis to go under. I took the under. It didn't work. Sometimes it's like that. So we'll talk Chris Middleton today, though. Today, his projection's at 38. The Milwaukee Bucks swingman is projected for 40.43 over on Roto Grinders, which would be a pretty sizable, healthy over at this point on Chris Middleton. Let's look at his game logs and see what he's been up to. Well, they look pretty good. He's been balling. Yesterday, 42.6 against the Pels, 48.5 versus the Raptors, 40.1 versus Atlanta, 35.5, and a 45.8 versus Brooklyn. He takes on Charlotte tonight. I don't see a previous game log here against Charlotte, so we'll move ahead and talk minutes. He's looking to play 34 minutes tonight, is a scoring wing. Charlotte ranking 3rd in the league against scoring wings. Difficult matchup on paper for Middleton. This is a back-to-back and 3 games in 4 nights for Middleton. He's playing over 33 minutes a night, averaging 1.2 fantasy points per minute. And his usage rating is very good at over 25, 25.79 to be exact. Now, looking at the game total and spread here, Charlotte 111.25 is the underdog at home, hosting the Milwaukee Bucks. Bucks are expected to be 8.5-point favorites. So, guys, this is in that orange to red territory for me in terms of blowouts go. I think the Bucks were supposed to blow out whoever it was they ended up playing last night and didn't. I think the game, did end up being fairly close, or at least the guys that are supposed to be benched in a blowout, like Giannis, for some reason, he was still in there playing in the 4th quarter, I guess trying to make a comeback or whatever. But anyways, this game does kind of scare me a little bit in terms of spread, so I would be careful and cautious taking the overs on anybody in this game in case there is a blowout, especially on a back-to-back. Guys like Middleton, guys like Antetokounmpo, guys like Drew Holiday. I mean, those dudes could definitely get sat here if this game is a blowout like it's projected, just to get them a little bit of extra rest on a back-to-back 3 games and 4 night situation. So take the first half on some of these stars and hope for the best is my approach. Let's talk Charlotte Hornets. We will mention Terry Rozier in this game because they keep putting him up on the board. He's not a sexy name or not a sexy pick. I doubt a lot of you guys click on Terry Rozier from night to night, but we're going to talk about him tonight. 31 is his fantasy projection. Let's head over to Roto Grinders and see where they like Mr. Rozier. Going down the list a little bit here, 30.5. If we round that up, that's 31, which puts him in a tie with PrizePicks at 31. So if anything, slight under. We'll call it a slight under for now. But looking at his last few games here, against Indiana, 30, 35 against Indiana again, 32 against Orlando, 23 against Orlando, and 28.8 against Chicago. Looking at his game logs here, I don't see a previous matchup versus Milwaukee. So let's move ahead. and talk minutes. 35 minutes tonight. He's a combo guard. Combo guards against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's kind of tough against him, ranking 9th in the league. So difficult matchup on paper for Rozier. Back-to-back, 3 games of 4 nights for him. Playing nearly 34 minutes a night, putting up nearly 1 fantasy point per minute when he's out on the floor. And his usage rating, 21.80, so it's under 25. I'd call this good. I wouldn't call it great, especially for a guard. Guards typically who are, ball handlers and shooters, you would, like to see their usage rating be at that 25 or more mark. So I wouldn't call his usage or his fantasy points per minute elite by any stretch of the imagination. Of course, we know the situation in Charlotte. Rozier, Devontae Graham, LaMelo Ball. You got a number of different guards there that are all kind of sharing and splitting minutes for this team. So it's kind of hard to trust a guy like Rozier and take the over on him right now, just based on the timeshare of guards. I mean, there's only technically 2 guard spots. Sometimes they go with 3 guard sets, but you could even call Gordon Hayward a guard. He fits that shooting guard / small forward role for the Charlotte Hornets team. So there you have it. Enough about him. Let's move on to the next game. We've got the Houston Rockets taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. The game is scheduled to tip off at 8:10 p.m. That's PrizePicks time. They're a little different than real life. So we'll talk a guy we haven't mentioned in a while, and that's Christian Wood. His projection tonight is at 39 as he takes on the Hornets. The Hornets. They're not the New Orleans Hornets anymore. They're the New Orleans Pelicans. Let's see what he's projected for tonight. Christian Wood, 41.18, so that would be a nice over on his PrizePicks projection. Going over his last few games, 39.4 against Portland. He missed 3 games in a row, so we got to go back all the way back to January 20th, 46.2 in that one, 42.3 against Chicago, 57.1 against the Spurs, and the last one here, 50.5 against the Spurs there. So this is a little bit of a different chemistry, a different makeup for Christian Wood. We haven't seen him play a whole lot of games with this new nucleus in Houston. So you've got Boogie Cousins now, who is finally healthy and playing big minutes. You've got Wood, obviously. Oladipo is there now. John Wall is healthy. So you got 4 guys that are, usually very high usage, very high scoring guys. You even got a guy like Eric Gordon who, comes off the bench. That's another guy you got to consider. So I don't know how to feel about Christian Wood right now. We'll have to kind of see more of a larger sample size out of this Houston Rockets team when everybody's healthy, everyone's in the lineup, and see how kind of the usage and the shots and stuff like that shake out. But he's projected to play 32 minutes tonight. Is a versatile bigs versus the Pelicans. Pelicans rank 5th. Of course, they get that front court of Steven Adams and Zion Williamson, 2 pretty big, formidable guys inside. 2 games and 3 nights for the Rockets, but of course this doesn't really apply to Wood here. Well, yeah, I guess it does. He did play in the last one. My bad. Anyway, moving along. Over 33 minutes a night, 1.3 fantasy points per minute, and his usage rating 26.06. So a very good usage rating, very good fantasy points per minute. But again, I ask, how will that look with John Wall, with Victor Oladipo, with DeMarcus Cousins in the lineup? How much of the pie is really left for a guy like Christian Wood? We'll have to find out tonight. Looking at the game total and spread, well, my goodness, this game is projected to almost be a tie here. New Orleans is just a 0.5 home favorite over Houston. So I don't expect this game to blow out. It looks like it's going to remain very, very competitive according to our Vegas odds makers. And heck, maybe we'll get lucky and get overtime. Wouldn't that be nice? Especially if you take the overs on any of the stars from this game. So feel free to fire up Wood and Oladipo and Wall and, Zion and anyone else, Brandon Ingram, whoever you want to fire up stars from this game. Full game format's definitely in play. I would definitely say first half only is more than in play as well. So there you have it. Now let's talk the other side of this game here. We mentioned Zion a lot. I think we mentioned Ingram quite a bit, but we don't talk Steven Adams a whole lot. So let's talk Steven Adams now. 28 is his projection against the Houston Rockets. Of course, this is kind of like a rematch game for DeMarcus Cousins. He used to be on the Pelicans, but no longer is he a Pel. He is now a Rocket. So Steven Adams will probably see a lot of DeMarcus Cousins tonight. His projection on RotoGrinders, 26.37. Let's see what he's been up to in his last few. 30 against Milwaukee, 34 against Washington, 8.6 against Minnesota, but only played 23 minutes, so that's kind of a weird one. 32.7 against Utah, 20.3 against Utah. Again, playing reduced minutes, 23.67 minutes in that one. Now, looking at the game log here, I don't see any game against Houston in the past. So let's talk tonight's minutes. 30 minutes tonight. He's a post-up big man. Houston ranking just 20th in the league against post-up bigs. It shouldn't be a very difficult matchup for Adams. He should be able to get some boards, get some putbacks, get some of them easy points that he's known for getting. This is a back-to-back and 3 games of 4 nights for Adams. He's playing almost 31 minutes a night, putting up almost 1 fantasy point per minute, 0.91. You'd like to see that up a little bit more, put him in that kind of very good to elite status with some of the other big men. And his usage rating, just 13.44. He's not going to have the ball in his hands a whole lot. He's mainly kind of a screener, a rebounder, a defender, not a big-time scorer, assist guy like a Nikola Jokic, for example. So there you have it on Adams. We'll round that down to 26 and call it an under versus PrizePicks tonight. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. We've got the Sacramento Kings versus the Miami Heat, and you see them, I see them, and I want to talk about them. Let's see if we have a projection on RotoGrinders for Jimmy Butler. We've missed Jimmy Buckets. As I mentioned at the top of the show, he's been out for quite some time. Let's see if we get him back tonight. I'm going to go look for him here on RotoGrinders and see if they have a projection up for him. Well, I don't see him under shooting guard. Maybe he's at small forward. Jimmy Butler. There he is. We got him. Sweet. So it looks like he's on track to play as of right now. So his projection is 36.74. We can call that 37 confidently. We look at his recent game logs. Well, there's not a whole lot to look at here. I mean, the guy has been just out of the lineup more than in for the most part. But his last game was back on January 9th, so almost 3 weeks ago. 60.5 points. Very big game there against Washington. 48.1 against Boston, 33.6 against OKC, 11.6 against Dallas, and then going all the way back here to Christmas Day, 20.7. So, guys, the game logs for him are very, very, very volatile. They're very up and down. There's no consistency here, no rhyme, no reason. I'd like to see some pattern or something, but, it's just ugly. It's all over the place. Hard to trust him, right? Well, you got to figure after missing 3 weeks, he's not going to get a ton of minutes, and RotoGrinders agrees. They're not going to give him 36 or more minutes, nothing like that. He's projected for 28. Maybe that's even too high. I don't know. I don't know what to expect out of Butler tonight, but I wanted to talk about him because I missed the guy. He's a scoring wings against the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento ranks 25th. Not a hard matchup for Butler whatsoever. This is 3 games and 4 nights. But not for Butler because he hasn't played in a long time. 28.9 minutes, almost 29 minutes a game. When he's out there, he's doing well. He's almost at 1.3 fantasy points per minute, which is elite. He's at 1.28, and his usage rating over 25, 25.65. Let's talk game total and spread. Miami, 114.5. They are the home favorites by 4.5 points versus Sacramento. Sacramento projected to score 110 as a team. So this game should stay close, pending any major injury news. I mean, if Butler's on track to play, if Arrow's on track to play, then, the game looks like it's going to stay competitive. But keep an eye on those spreads, those Vegas totals and stuff. They do change, just like the projections on PrizePicks change. So you got to keep up with all the latest news. It's very important when you're deciding on overs or unders on some of these guys. We'll back up a spot and talk the other side of this game here. The shooting guard for the Sacramento Kings, Buddy Hield. We haven't talked Buddy a whole lot. He's 26 is his projection tonight. So let's find him over here on RotoGrinders and see where they like Buddy tonight. Well, they have him at 26.42, so that would be a slight over versus his projection tonight. Let's take a look at the game logs. He's been playing a lot better as of late in his last 2 games. 32.6 against the Raptors. A huge one here. 50.5 fantasy points versus the Orlando Magic. My poor Orlando Magic. 22.2 against the Knicks, 27.9 against the Clippers, and then 31.3 against the New Orleans Pelicans. So his last 5 games here have been pretty solid. He's got 3 games, I believe, 4 games that he's went over tonight's projection of 26. So good to see that in the game logs for Buddy. Don't have a previous game log of him versus Miami, so no matchup to compare to. But let's talk his minutes tonight. 34 minutes. He is a shooting wings against Miami. Miami ranking 14th, so kind of a tough matchup on paper. This is a back-to-back game for him. Also 3 games in 4 nights. He's playing over 34 minutes a night. 0.82 fantasy points per minute. Not very good, guys. I wish that was better. And I mean, it has been better, as we mentioned in his last 5 games. That number has to be higher than 0.82, I would imagine. And then 20.22 as far as his usage rating goes. So not the greatest usage, but not terrible. Could be worse. Could be way worse. So they like a slight over on Buddy. And I kind of agree. I think, based on his 5-game log that we looked at recently, he's been crushing this 26 in most of those games, 4 out of 5. So feel good about taking the over on Buddy. I kind of do. And that's probably how I would approach him. Moving right along, though, we've got the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics, one of the greatest rivalries, maybe the greatest rivalry of 2 teams in NBA history. So this should be a pretty good game, fun one to watch. We're going to skip Anthony Davis. He did miss the last game. I know he's on the board right now, but I'd hate to waste my breath talking about this guy and then him not play. And you know what? I'm going to skip LeBron James too. I want to talk Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder projected for 24 tonight. That projection seems low to me. I know in recent memory, Schroeder's been up around 28, 29 on PrizePicks. Let's find him tonight on Roto Grinders and talk about his projection, shall we? All right. We got to go down the list here, down the line quite a bit, and find Schroeder. He's way down here at 23.96. That's close enough for me to call it 24. So let's call it 24 and look at his recent games. 19.6 against Detroit, 24.1 against Philly, 9.7 against Cleveland, 15.6 against Chicago, and 11.7 against Milwaukee. So now do you see why PrizePicks has brought his projection down by a few points? Because he's been playing awful, guys. Awful. Even in this last one, without Anthony Davis, only 19.6. So on tonight's projection of 24, he's only went over 24 one time against Philadelphia, and he was barely over, 24.1. So not looking good for Dennis Schroeder as of late. I don't have a game log of him versus Boston, so let's go ahead and talk his minutes. 30 minutes tonight. Boston ranks 4th against combo guards, so tough matchup for Schroeder. 3 games and 4 nights for him. Playing over 30 minutes a night, putting up 0.83 fantasy points per minute. Not very good. And then 22.26 is his rating, usage rating. So another tough matchup here for Dennis Schroeder. I kind of feel like taking the under on Schroeder in a tough matchup. I don't think this is the game where he can, bounce back. He's going to be facing some tough guard play from, Marcus Smart, maybe even seeing some Jaylen Brown. Who knows how they match up, but it's looking like a tough one on paper for Dennis Schroeder. So I'd avoid him or take the under, personally. Now, we got to talk Boston side of the ball here. A guy that has finally kind of made his return. He's starting to get back up there in terms of playing big minutes and getting big production, is Jason Tatum. His projection tonight is 44. Let's see where they have Tatum on the board tonight. Whoo. Well, look at that. We might have just found ourselves a gem here. 38.89. Let's call it 39. Huge under on Jason Tatum tonight. Let's open his game logs and see why, because that's a huge difference. 45.4 against the Spurs in his last game, 37.3 against the Chicago Bulls. Of course, we talked about him missing a bunch of time. He missed a total of 5 games in a row. So we got to go all the way back to January 8th against the Washington Wizards. He put up 40. Against the Miami Heat, he put up 40. And then Toronto, he put up 55.2. So, guys, I would really just focus on his last 2 games here. He's played 34 minutes and 31 minutes in those games. He's taking over 20 shots a game, so he's still getting all the buckets up that he can while he is in the game. He may not be playing 37 to 40 minutes a night, but When he's in there, he's jacking it up. So let's move ahead here and talk minutes for tonight. He's projected to play 34 minutes for the Boston Celtics. Versatile forwards against the Lakers have struggled. Lakers ranking 9th in the league against versatile forwards. No back-to-back situation. He should be well rested. Should hopefully have his legs under him. He's played 2 games now since missing those 5 in a row. His minutes for the season, over 34. 1.27 fantasy points per minute, and he's putting up a very good 31.21 usage rating, heavily involved when he's out there on the floor for Boston. So let's talk the totals and spread here. I think we forgot to do that with Schroeder, but we'll do it now. Boston 107.75 is a 2-point underdog at home, hosting the Lakers. Lakers 109.75. So a 2-point spread. This game should stay close, but this is one where you want to monitor it just in terms of news. Of course, we talked about Anthony Davis at the top of the show. He is on the injury report. We need to make sure he's playing. Right now, he's questionable, so keep that in mind when evaluating this game and how you want to approach these picks of over or under. Without AD in there, maybe the spread becomes greater, and maybe it becomes more of like that green light to yellow light, we'll call it, where it's a little more shaky to play some of these guys in full game formats. But according to RotoGrinders, they have him as a major under, so keep an eye on that. I mean, that might be a really good sneaky play for Jason Tatum. Let's move along and talk the next game here. We've got the Memphis Grizzlies, who I don't feel like we've talked about in a really long time on the channel, so it'd be good to talk some Memphis Grizzlies basketball. They're taking on the San Antonio Spurs. Game tips off at 8:40 p.m. on PrizePicks. Who do we want to talk about? Let's just talk Ja. I mean, that's the easy way to go, right? Ja, he's projected for 38 tonight. Let's head over to RotoGrinders and see where Ja is. I got him all the way down here at 33.33. So, man, just like with Jason Tatum, these two sites seem to be way different in terms of projections. They got Ja Morant at 38. He's at 33.33 on RotoGrinders. Huge under situation here if you trust and believe in RotoGrinders. Got that picture of Ja and his hair down. It always takes me out. I just never expect his hair to be looking like that. But anyway, 40.6 is his projection. Sorry, it's got me off my game, guys. It's got me off my game. 40.6 versus Phoenix in his last one. 26 versus Philadelphia. Of course, he missed a whole string of games, so we got to go way back here in time. 9.9, 43.1, and a huge 67.9 there, and that was against San Antonio, so keep that in mind. He played 35 minutes, put up nearly 68 fantasy points. He hasn't played San Antonio in either of the 2 games since returning from injury, and his minutes, they're okay. I mean, 30 and then 34. So let's move ahead and talk minutes tonight for Ja. They like him to play 30 once again tonight. We've already talked. His projection is really low on RotoGrinders. He's a combo guard. Combo guards against San Antonio, they rank just 18th, so not really worried about the matchup. Playing over 29 minutes a night, 1.28 fantasy points per minute, and his usage rating is elite, 32.37. So you love to see that. Now looking at the game totals here, and the spread, San Antonio 111.75, home favorite, versus Memphis 108.25. So you're talking a 3.5 point spread here. I'm not really worried about that. That game's going to stay close according to Vegas odds makers. So don't feel bad about taking Ja Morant in a half or in a full game format. Just, I don't know, maybe lean toward taking the under. I'm really going to have to dig into our 5-site comparison and see how Ja stacks up versus PrizePicks. But so far, RotoGrinders has him as a huge under there. So there you have it. Now, the other side of the game here, we talked DeRozan, I think, in our last video. Let's talk DeJounte Murray, one of my favorite names in the league, DeJounte. It's looking like a 36 is his projection tonight for DeJounte Murray. Let's see if we can find him here and see how he stacks up. 34.88 over on RotoGrinders, so that would be an under, over a 1-point under on Murray. In his last few games, 39.9, played really well last night against the Denver Nuggets in over 32 minutes of action. 30 0.2 versus Boston, 41.2 versus Washington. He missed this game against Dallas. So we'll go back a little further, 39.7 against Golden State and 38.3 against Portland. Now versus Memphis, I don't see a game log. So let's move ahead to the minutes, and he's projected to play 32 minutes tonight. Memphis is good against combo guards, ranking second in the league. So very, very good against combo guards. This could be a tough matchup, at least on paper, for Murray. This is a back-to-back and 3 games and 4 nights situation. He's playing nearly 31 minutes a game, averaging 1.1 fantasy points per minute. And his usage is okay, just okay. 23.4 is his usage rating. So there you have it on DeJounte Murray. They like the under on Murray. Let's move ahead and talk the next game. We got the Phoenix Suns taking on the Dallas Mavericks. That game is set to tip off at 9:10 p.m. on PrizePicks. We talked Luka yesterday, so I want to talk Kristaps Porzingis today. He is projected for 36. The Dallas Mavericks big man is, I think, still trying to get back into playing shape, still trying to get his legs under him. His projection tonight is 35.68, so that would put him slightly under his PrizePicks projection of 36. Let's crack open the game logs and see what he's been up to. Whew. Well, it's not looking good. Played 24 minutes in his last game versus Utah, which was last night, 20.8. Of course, they talked about potentially resting him on a back-to-back. His minutes, as you can see, have been kind of down lately. Against Utah, 2 games back, he put up 30 points. Versus Denver, 27.7. He missed that one against Houston. So going back a little bit further, 41.1 and 51.6 for Porzingis. So, I mean, he's been back on the team, playing pretty good minutes for the most part. Last night didn't play a whole lot. Didn't even top 25 minutes. So kind of hard to trust him. I don't even know if he's going to start tonight. But if he does, the under is looking like the way to go based on his last few games here. So do that. I mean, I think I would go with the under. He is a versatile big, though. Phoenix ranking 26. It's a good matchup. So if he does play, I don't mind the matchup. Back-to-back, 3 games and 4 nights, playing over 30 minutes, 1.13 fantasy points per minute, and then putting up a good usage rating of over 25 at just 25.02. So 0.02 points over that 25 we'd like to see. So there you have it for Porzingis. Let's talk the other side of the game here. Chris Paul, let's talk DeAndre Ayton. We'll stick with the big guys here in this game. DeAndre Ayton, he is the highest projected big man on tonight's slate, according to RotoGrinders. They got him at 37.17. So 37.17. Let's see how he's done his last few games. 31.6 against Golden State, 20.8 against OKC, 37. Yeah, right. 37.1 against Denver, 47.1 against Denver, and 63.9 against Houston. Huge game there. Usually bigs against Dallas do very, very well. I don't have a previous game log to compare to, but let's move ahead and talk minutes. He's going to be playing 34 minutes tonight, according to RotoGrinders. He is a post-up, back-to-the-basket type of big man, and Dallas usually does well against them, which is kind of surprising because, I mean, we've played like Jokic against Dallas in the past, and I mean, I don't know, man. This number 1 against post-up bigs, I'm kind of not buying it. I think this is a situation where DeAndre Ayton could smash, especially if Kristaps Porzingis is out. I think it gets even softer in terms of matchup for Ayton. But this is 3 games and 4 nights. He's playing 31.5 minutes a night, averaging 1.08 fantasy points per minute, and his usage rating is just under 18. Barely under 18 at 17.99. Now looking at the game totals and the spread here, this one is expected to stay close. However, I would say that this little 1-point spread, we'll call it 1-ish point spread, that could change if Kristaps Porzingis doesn't suit up tonight. I would expect that to maybe flip and then Phoenix be the road favorite against Dallas if Porzingis is ruled out. So keep an eye on the news. As always, and we've got a news channel set up in the Discord. By the way, if you're not a part of the Discord, you can join below. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. It's free for you to get in there. We've got a general prize picks channel that anyone could go in there and mix it up and talk prize picks. And we've also got a premium channel that I've started, which is doing very well, by the way. People are winning money with the premium spreadsheet that I put together every night. So if you're not a part of that and you want to be a part of that, find me in Discord. My name is CJ Curry. I'm the only CJ Curry in there. And send me a message and we'll talk about how you can get on board with the premium prize picks. And that will go live on February 1st. But there you go. That's how we're approaching DeAndre Ayton, slight under on him. Moving right along, we've got the Detroit Pistons and Golden State Warriors. Now, something's catching my eye here, and it's Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant, he was becoming a prize picks darling of ours in terms of taking the over on Grant. He was crushing. Well, I don't think he's been crushing as much lately, but prize picks, they've adjusted his projection. He was at 39 for a number of days there in a row. Now he's down at 36. And you remember CJ McCollum, our little Portland Trail Blazers friend, when he was at 36, what did we do? We clicked the over on CJ McCollum over and over and over again, night after night, and it kept working. It kept paying off. Let's click Jeremy Grant's name and go take a look and see if clicking the over on him tonight is going to make any sense whatsoever. Jeremy Grant tonight, he's projected for 36.85. So he is an over, technically. According to Roto Grinders, he is an over. But let's look at the game logs because his projections are a bit down lately, both on Prize Picks and Roto Grinders. Let's see what he's been up to. Well, the minutes are still there for Jeremy Grant, which is good. The shots have come down a little bit for Grant in his last 3 games. You could see if we go back here when he was real hot and doing real well, 20, 19, 19, 19, 19, 22, even a 19 here as of January 23rd, a week ago. But in his last 3, he is shooting less, 14 shots, 13 shots, 13 shots. Okay, so he's not putting up that regular upper 30s to 40s, even 60. Good grief. He's down a little bit, 26.6, 32.6. That would be good for an under tonight of his projection of 36. This would be a big over, 48.1 against Philly, 33.3 and a 38.1. So in his last 5 games, guys, he has struggled to go over the 36 mark. He's only done it twice out of 5. Tricky, huh? That 36 is still looking good to me, man. I think that if he starts taking a few more shots, then he'll get there. But let's look at his minutes tonight. 36 minutes against Golden State. He's a versatile forward. Golden State's just 26th against versatile forwards, so not a hard matchup. Love the matchup. That's very good. 3 games in 4 nights. He's still playing over 36 minutes a night. 1.11 fantasy points per minute, and his usage is at 25.42. Other thing we got to look at is the game totals and spread. Golden State, 114 at home, and Detroit, 109.5. So there's a little potential here. I'd put this in the yellow, maybe orange category. In terms of like blowout, I'd probably lean more toward yellow, though. I do expect this game to stay fairly close, according to our Vegas odds makers. So guys, they like a slight over on Jeremy Grant, and I do too. I think it's just a matter of time before he starts taking more shots, making more shots, and that fantasy point number will go up. I think the fact that they've knocked him down to 36 from 39 really helps us out and really makes me more eager to try and take the over on Grant versus the under. So that's how I'm approaching Mr. Jeremy Grant. Now, we got to talk one other guy here from the Golden State side of things, and this will wrap up the video. We're going to talk Andrew Wiggins, because Wiggins has been playing pretty decent basketball lately, I would say. He's projected for 31 points tonight. Let's see where they like him across Roto Grinders here. Boop, 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 boo. Where are you, Andrew? Andrew, are you a shooting guard, buddy? There he is, shooting guard. Okay, it's a little different sometimes when you look at Prize Picks and you look at Roto Grinders. But anyway, 31.51. So that is a slight over on his 31 here on PrizePicks. Let's open up the game logs and see what he's been up to. 21.5 in his last one, but he only played 28 minutes in that one, so not really a fair one. 25.1, he played 30 minutes in that one. Okay. 47.2, big game there against Minnesota. Of course, that was kind of like a, we'll call it revenge game if you believe in narratives, against his former Minnesota T-Wolves team. 31 against Utah, and last one, 32.8 against the New York Knicks. Now, against Detroit tonight, I don't have a game log for him against the Pistons, so let's talk his minutes. 32 minutes. He's a scoring wing. Detroit, this is kind of a middle-of-the-road matchup. Not hard, but not soft for Andrew Wiggins. 3 games and 4 nights, 31.7 minutes per game, putting up 0.98 fantasy points, and his usage is at 22.76, so pretty good, but not great for Andrew Wiggins. So there you have it, man. Andrew Wiggins, 31.51 puts him as a slight over. Of course, as I do for all my premium members, I dig in deep for all of these different guys here. We usually try to touch on, we usually try to talk about at least 2 guys from each side of each game. So I'll be doing that for you guys tonight. I'll be getting the single stat stuff out for you tonight so that we can hopefully get back on track and start winning some more money on PrizePicks. But that's going to do it for today's video. You guys drop a comment below. Let me know who you like from this video. Maybe there's somebody that I didn't talk about that you're really feeling. Go ahead and leave their name down below. Let me know if you're taking the over, the under. You know the drill. Everything that I always mention in all the videos. Like to hear from you guys. And we're going to go and try and win some money. And until the next one, guys, I wish you good luck tonight. And let's get back on track if you're off track like me. Until the next one, guys. Peace.